Ladies and gentlemen, it's 6:30 in Cameroon. You're welcome to the 6:30 Prime News on my Major Prime. My name is Genda Pelge Blanche King. We are live from the economic capital, Douala Studio A, or Studio A at Fengudrong, Bange. To begin the news this evening, we revisit the court hearing of Barrister Tamfo Richard and colleague, which took place yesterday at the Bonanjo Court of First Instance. Barrister Tamfo Richard has been given a suspended sentence of 6 months by the Bonanjo Court of First Instance. He was found guilty of destruction of public properties and assault on police officers. This means Barrister Tamfo Richard and colleague will not serve the 6 months jail term unless further criminal offences are brought forth against them within this time frame. Barrister Tamfo and colleague are now free after paying the sum of 100,000 francs demanded by the Bonanjo Court of First Instance. Details in the following report with Lasha Kinsley.
Barrister Tamfo Richard and Maitre Ahmed Chouemenye were both slammed a 6-month suspended sentence for a period of 3 years with a fine of 100,000 francs CFA. They were found guilty of destruction of properties in the courtroom, group rebellion, assaults on police officers, amongst others. The verdict was handed yesterday by the presiding judge, Adama Musa Epos Ndomche, at the Bonanjo Court of First Instance. Barrister Eban Toko Justice, one of the defense counsel, reacting shortly after the verdict, said though everybody went home satisfied, the hearing wasn't necessary in the first place.
More like a clash of the titans. There was the force of the bench and the force of the bar. And so I think the judge saw that there was too much tension in the air and thought that it's what we call in English, in pidgin parlance, a draw game. Everybody went home satisfied. But I want to say that it is not necessary for that clash to always happen, because that kind of force can get out of hand and the entire nation will suffer. There's every reason for us, when we have this kind of problem, for the bar and the bench to meet in Wicklow and discuss and solve the problem.
He went further to explain that what happened at the courtroom was more or less a miscarriage of justice.
The two gentlemen pleaded not guilty, and we expected the court to produce the witnesses so that you give evidence of what happened, and then the accused persons will have an answer to give. But surprisingly, it was the Procureur de la République who gave the evidence and gave the exhibit in court. That is not the procedure. And so the aspect of cross-examination, examination in chief and re-examination was not seen in this court. So it was more like a miscarriage of justice.
Senior Barrister Nkea, on his part, describes the decision of the judge of Bonanjo Court of First Instance as a sham.
For me, I think it's a sham. And when I say it's a sham, I mean that it's a decision that the whole process was carried out in a way that violated the basic fundamental principles of criminal trials. Because to us, and according to the Criminal Procedure Code, when a man says he's not guilty, it puts the burden of proof on the prosecution. The prosecution is now required to adduce evidence through witnesses, right? Which is going to lay the foundation whether or not there is a case to answer. But in this case, once the accused person said they were not guilty, the court proceeded to allow the state counsel to read a report which formed the evidence of the prosecution.
Hundreds of lawyers present at the court decided to take off their wigs and gowns before entering the courtroom. They said they also decided not to defend their colleagues so as to allow the government continue in its illegality.
The December 6, 2020 elections for regional councillors have been described by government as the dawn of new things for those in the two restive regions of the country, as it is expected to usher in the effective implementation of the special status granted to the northwest and southwest regions of the country. This will be achieved through the Regional House of Assembly for the northwest and southwest, with chiefs playing an important role. Details with Crise Ekoe.
This launching of campaigns for the election of regional councillors that held in Buea and attended by CPDM bigwigs is coming at a time when the Northwest and Southwest region is still suffering from the aftermath of the ongoing Anglophone crisis. Taking place under the supervision of the leader of the Southwest CPDM Permanent Regional Campaign Committee, Peter Mafani Musonge, he highlighted the importance of the upcoming December 6, 2020 regional elections in speeding up the decentralization process that is aimed at addressing the low developmental problems faced in the two English-speaking regions. To ensure the effective realization of the decentralization process, he called on CPDM diehard to remain united and rally behind the chosen CPDM candidate for the regional elections by voting massively. By doing so, they will accompany their National Party President Paul Biya, instituting peace and development in the country.
In the last phase of decentralization process, the election of 6 December 2020 is the highlight of the process. We're going to have the regional assembly, House of Chiefs, which are important aspects of a special status, and so they should help us realize by voting massively on that day.
While many skeptics ponder on how the upcoming regional elections will address the worries of the population of the Northwest and Southwest regions, Isaac Bua throws light on the roles the House of Assembly and that of Chiefs have in fast-tracking the decentralization process.
Powers which have been given to these local authorities. For instance, they will be consulted when it comes to defining policies in the Anglo-Saxon educational subsystem. They will be involved in defining the status of traditional chiefdoms. They will also be involved in the management of public structures which have been created in the region. They also have been capacitated to create development agencies for the region.
At the end of the event, a motion of support was addressed to President Biya, the national president of the CPDM party, in which CPDM militant reaffirmed their support and encouragement to the head of state in his commitment to achieve peace in the Northwest and Southwest regions.
That was rather the launch of campaigns, CPDM campaigns ahead of the December 6, 2020 elections. Let's now get reassurance of effective implementation of a special status in the Northwest and Southwest regions. Still with Clarice Ekoe.
One of the resolutions of the major national dialogue was the special status granted to the Northwest and Southwest regions. In order to match actions with words, the government of Cameroon convened the regional elections for councillors. The elections billed for December 6, 2020 is peculiar in that out of the 10 regions, only the Northwest and Southwest regions, we have the regional assembly, while the 8 other regions, we have only the regional councillors. It is through the regional assembly that the 5 pillars of the special status will be effectively implemented.
In the Southwest region, we have a special status that has been conferred on the region, and by reason of this special status, as opposed to the other 8 French-speaking regions, the Southwest Regional Council, which will be the deliberative organ, the regional council in the Southwest will be called the Regional Assembly. It will be made up of 2 houses, the House of Divisional Representatives and the House of Chiefs. Additional powers which have been given to these local authorities. For instance, they will be consulted when it comes to defining policies in the Anglo-Saxon educational subsystem. They will be involved in defining the status of traditional chiefdoms.
Notwithstanding, through the decentralization process, these 2 English-speaking regions will be given the power to manage their developmental projects that is expected to improve on the social and economic standard of living of these local population.
What the population expects from us is the economics of this region change the status or the position where we are. So social amenities as a whole, well, they're expecting a lot, and we want to assure them that by the text, what we have at our disposal, at our competence, we shall give them the best of it.
Je voudrais revenir sur la particularité pour dire que le House of Chiefs qui sera mis en place permettra effectivement d'avoir une autre vision de l'administration dans le cadre du statut spécial.
It is worthy of note that a total of 90 regional councils will constitute the regional council seats for the 10 regions of Cameroon, out of which 70 will be elected by regional councillors and 20 will come from the category of traditional rulers, also voted by their peers.
CPDM campaign or regional campaign coordinator for the Northwest, Philemon Yang, has equally called for discipline and fair play from CPDM councillors at the regional polls on December 6. He made the appeal over the weekend in Bamenda during the official launch of campaigns with traditional rulers and municipal councillors constituting the 2 electoral college across the 7 divisions of the region's electoral campaign exercise, as Charles Kebwa tells us from the Northwest region of the country.
The Regional House of Assembly, with 2 key components, the House of Divisional Representatives, made up of 70 members elected by municipal councillors, and the House of Chiefs, made up of 20 members elected by their peers. In the Northwest region, campaigns were officially launched in Bamenda over the weekend by CPDM political party, led by its regional campaign team coordinator, Philemon Yang, to see grassroots preoccupation managed by CPDM grassroots-related leaders.
See, we are going there not to go and enrich ourselves, but we are going there to see that a common man benefits from everything that concerns the state, the Northwest and Cameroon.
The electoral campaign exercise to run for 15 days of intense campaigning by candidates vying for seats during the upcoming regional election slated for December 2020. Various presentations were made to presenting candidates from the 7 divisions of the Northwest to supporters of the party during the grand launch in Bamenda. The CPDM permanent regional campaign coordinator for the Northwest, Philemon Yang, called for discipline and fair play by the CPDM councillors at the 6 December regional polls. Said the holding of the election is expected to reshape the future of the Northwest as the special status goes operational.
For every election you have states. Even if we only have one party here, we need to convince every elector that it's time to vote to bring in the centralization and the very special status for the Northwest region.
As traditional rulers and municipal councillors constituting the 2 electoral college in December sit campaign for votes, looking forward for a serene and calm social climate to better vie for their positions, many in the Northwest region look forward for the rapid implementation of the proposed special status expected to be full-fledged after the 6th December 2020 regional election.
In church news, Presbyterian Christians in Cameroon have been called to be watchful and pray for the return of peace in the warring or restive Northwest and Southwest regions. This call was made by Right Reverend Funky Samuel Foba, moderator of the PCC at the Presbyterian Church, Boyertown. Details with Clarissa Coy.
This church service that held at PCC Boyertown and attended by a college of pastors and a cross-section of the Christian population of the PCC was to launch the 2020 Synod Committee, dubbed Committee of Vigilance. The scriptural reading was drawn from the book of 1 Corinthians 16 verse 13. In his sermon, the chief celebrant, Right Reverend Funky Samuel Foba, reiterated on the need for Christians to maintain good Christian values by staying watchful, standing firm in the faith, and to pray fervently at all times, adding that God will hold everyone accountable if they do not play their role as Christians to build the Church of Christ, whose prayers is much needed, especially in the time when the 2 English-speaking regions are plagued with the ongoing Anglophone crisis.
Having that word watch out to formulate a theme for the Synod Committee of this year, 2020. So we thought that we should elect Presbyterians and Synod delegates to the Synod Committee of Vigilance to know that we must be alert in these trying times and try as much as possible to be vigilant in prayers. And that's the only weapon that can help save us and open our spiritual eyes to see what is happening around us and in order to preempt the evil that is going on in our midst.
Representing the Southwest Governor, Mr. Ngambanye Daniel also joined his voice to that of the moderator of the PCC to call on Christians to be watchful and prayerful while urging them to put away pride and let the spirit of humility lead them during the synod deliberations. A message that was highly appreciated by Reverend Ezekiel Foncham, the parish pastor of PCC Boya Town.
Has come at the right time, and we take it with a lot of humility, with a lot of commitment that we will go back to our various corners as Christians and as nation builders to be vigilant, to guard against all of the ills that are there to cause us to fall rather than making us stand. So we will highlight all the virtues. Thank you.
The ceremony to mark the opening of the PCC Senior Committee was also attended among other personalities.
Former Deputy Mr. Waji and Madame Giselle Tange have officially taken office as mayors of Mbuda and Bambutus respectively. The ceremony, which took place over the weekend, was chaired by the SDO for Bambutus, Mr. Iwango Ernest. Details in the following report with Audrey Satsa.
Officiellement, dans la fonction de maire de la commune de Mbuda, Monsieur Waji.
Ça y est, l'exécutif municipal de Bambutus et Babadjou est désormais en fonction. À Mbouda, département de Bambutus, région de l'Ouest Cameroun, le nouveau maire M. Waji et ses 4 adjoints, notamment M. Parfait Frédéric, M. Tchokino Jean, Mme Maguet et M. Tachisong Jean-Claude, ont été installés au cours de cette cérémonie présidée par le préfet de Bambutus à la place de fête de la ville de Mbouda. Le préfet, M. Ewango Boudou Ernest, avant de procéder au cérémonial d'installation, a rappelé au nouveau maire ses missions, à savoir mettre non seulement le conseil municipal en confiance, mais aussi pour une bonne suivi et être à l'écoute de sa population afin que la ville fasse bon vivre malgré les ramifications dans les conseils municipaux qui ont conduit à une instabilité.
Les ramifications dans les conseils municipaux ont conduit à des divisions et des camps. Toutes choses qui créent la haine, la provocation, les intimidations de toutes sortes. La stabilité de nos conseils municipaux et partant de la commune tout entière a été quelque peu secouée.
Parmi les axes prioritaires de l'exécutif municipal de Mbouda, il y a le désordre urbain, l'éclairage public et surtout la finalisation du projet de collecte de déchets de produits au marché central de Mbouda et dans les ménages. À Babadjou, la même cérémonie s'est faite dans le contexte où la première femme maire du département, Madame Giselle, a pris fonction à la place de Jinsong à Babadjou. Pour elle, c'est un sentiment de satisfaction.
Un sentiment de satisfaction, de joie parce que depuis que j'ai été élue, c'est la première fois que je commune vraiment entièrement avec toute la population.
Les 2 cérémonies se sont donc terminées dans une ambiance festive.
Founder of Serak, First Lady Madame Chantal Bia, has officially launched the renovation of the Nchang District Hospital. She equally donated some agricultural tools to youths and women of the area. This was over the weekend. Details with Audrey Zatsa.
The Chang community in general and the Chang District Hospital in particular in the west region of the country were welcoming Saturday 21st the delegation of Serak, Cercle des Amis du Cameroun, led by Madame Grace Dion Goutte, representing the founder and president of this association, Madame Chantal Bia, and chaired by Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Celestine Kecha-Courtes, for official renovation of the Chang District Hospital, combined with some donations of agricultural equipment to more than 37 associations, women and youth in the 6 municipalities of Menua. A fully equipped building comprising of medical equipment, hospital furniture, hygiene kits and medication was equally handed to the district hospital. According to Grace John Gute, the First Lady's action through CERAC in the health sector aims at strengthening the supply of quality care to serve population, especially the most vulnerable. The Chang District Hospital has equally benefited from the installation of a 160 km transformer to curb frequent blackouts in the city. The ceremony saw the presence of municipal, administrative, traditional and religious authorities. With this rehabilitation, inhabitants and precisely patients are expected to witness a positive impact in services rendered at this hospital.
In sports, the sledgehammer of the World Football Governing Body, FIFA, has fallen on the president of the Confederation of African Football, Ahmad, banning him from all football-related activities for 5 years. This comes at a time when he was preparing to go in for his second 4-year mandate. Details in the following report with sportsman Fabrice Kendinger.
A Madagascan official has been handed a 5-year ban from all football-related activity for financial misconduct. His misappropriation of funds included a pilgrimage to Mecca. African Soccer Confederation head and FIFA Vice President Ahmad was banned from all football-related activity on Monday due to financial misconduct. World Football's governing body, FIFA, issued the ban amidst the Madagascan official's campaign to be re-elected for a second 4-year term as a head of his continent's confederation. But that ambition now lies in tatters after the FIFA Ethics Committee found Ahmad had breached his duty of loyalty, offered gifts and other benefits, mismanaged funds and abused his position as the CAF president. In addition to his ban, the 60-year-old was fined $220,000 for the organization and financing of an opera pilgrimage to Mecca, his involvement in CAF's dealing with the sports equipment company Tactical Steel and other activities. Ahmad has been belated by corruption allegations throughout his tenure as CAF president and was taken for questioning by the French authorities on the eve of the 2019 Women's World Cup over an arrangement with a sports equipment firm that appeared to have little connection with soccer. Ahmad's ban means 5 of FIFA's 6 global confederations have had to replace leaders accused of ethical violations since 2015, when a sprawling U.S. Department of Justice indictment revealed widespread corruption in the Americas and the Caribbean. FIFA's president Gianni Infantino swept to power a year later, pledging to rid the organization of the culture of corruption that had stained its image and brought down its predecessor. Ahmad had been one of the new breed of leaders that arrived in the wake of the scandals, with the backing of Infantino, who spent significant political capital lobbying on behalf of the then little-known politician from a soccer backwater, Madagascar. Ahmad ousted Issa Hayatou, a towering figure in African soccer, who had ruled the sport on the continent and wielded great influence as a top FIFA executive for more than 2 decades. Ahmad's departure leaves 4 candidates to replace him when CAF holds its presidential elections on March 12. Until then, the organization will be run by its senior vice president, Constant Omari of Congo, who faces his own ethics investigations over a television deal that he and Ahmad revised in a way that appears to have benefited CAF's broadcast partners at the cost of millions of dollars to African soccer.
Some denizens in Douala reacted to the recent sanction of CAF President Ahmad. Gladys Bomotongina was on the streets earlier today. She sampled the opinions of these individuals and compiled the following reports in the French language.
La suspension donnée en ce jour, 24 novembre 2020 par la FIFA, à l'endroit du président de la CAF, Ahmad, a suscité l'intérêt de plusieurs personnes, notamment qui pensent que si effectivement les faits qui lui sont reprochés sont exacts, alors c'est une décision qui n'est que la bienvenue et servira ainsi d'exemple à celui qui viendra après lui.
Pour ma part, on l'accuse d'avoir détourné, n'est-ce pas, les fonds. Et pour que le football aujourd'hui évolue, c'est tout mon modèle. On a besoin de gens qui sont sensés dans leur tête, qui sont prêts à faire, n'est-ce pas, à ce que le sport avance. Donc, ma part, la sanction, n'est-ce pas, tombe à pic. Voilà. Et ça doit se prolonger même dans les petites fédérations. Donc, ma part, c'est bien. Si on regarde ensemble, de manière générale, il a travaillé. Mais le travail qu'il fait, nous devons le pousser, n'est-ce pas, à faire ce qu'il a fait là tout à l'heure. Et comme la FIFA est une institution qui est dans l'excellence, ça fait tomber.
Par ailleurs, beaucoup de réalisations et d'accomplissements positifs sont attendus de la part du prochain président de la CAF, qui devrait, selon eux, prendre dans ce qui a été positif de la part de l'ancien président et y ajouter du sien.
Au niveau déjà de la CAF, pour le nouveau président qui va s'installer, il va falloir qu'il continue. Parce que Ahmad a dit faire d'une manière positive. Voilà. Ce qui a été positif, il continue dans le même 100 mètres. Ce qui a été négatif, il essaie de réparer et remédier à ça. Voilà, donc moi je souhaite, n'est-ce pas, à ce nouveau président qui arrive.
Le football africain aura donc reçu au jour d'aujourd'hui un grand coup.
The news was coordinated by Lasha Kinsley, produced by Ewane Elaine Olinga. I am Genda Pelgin Blanche King. Thanks for being a part of today's edition of Prime News on My Media Prime. Join us tomorrow at 6:30 Cameroon time, God willing, for another edition of Prime News on My Media Prime. Meantime, we're encouraging you to stay tuned to My Media Prime at 7 p.m. Cameroon time. Prime Hour will be live with Leonard and his analysts. Happy viewing and good night.